So from my IB results reaction video, I don't know, like 2 people commented that they wanted to see my process portfolio, which is one of the pieces of coursework we have to do in the IB Visual Arts program course. And I did HL, so the maximum number of screens that we're allowed to have is 25. And so yeah, this video is purely gonna be about IB art. So yeah, I'm just gonna show and then explain my process portfolio, and I did in fact get a 7 for that component, which I still don't know how, but you know. Okay, let me just pull it up real quick. I'm gonna try to talk and explain my stuff, my PP, like really fast, so that this video isn't long and boring. But yeah, the first page basically just shows my exhibition ideas and concepts, and like what are my underlying themes in my work. And so for my exhibition, I wanted to focus on childhood memory and how our memory is sort of fragile in a way. And so I use the words memory and fragility as the basis of my work. And then in this brainstorming page, you can see like I'm talking about the possible media that I'm gonna use, and like just doing background research on what I want to do for my exhibition. And I did like these little drawings for like experiments, and these are just like replicas of other artists' work, which doesn't really gain you any marks. So yeah. The next slide, oh god, okay. Ignore all my photos of myself, because this was in DP1, so I literally didn't know what I was doing, but we had to include it anyway. So this on the left right here is the artist's work, and I did like some research behind this artist and like kind of dissected her work. And so I took a few pictures, and these are like my compositional ideas. And just a disclaimer, for art, you have to be the one that takes all these pictures, and like normally people would take it of other people and have other people model in their pictures, but I just used the selfie camera and took it of myself. So these are my 4 compositional ideas that I wanted to do for my drawing. And then I did an experiment with charcoal, which isn't very good. And so I chose this picture because there's a clear use of like a few of the elements and principles of art. So like line, and then there's like these shadows. There's a large contrast between the bright spots and the dark spots. So yeah, I thought this would be a nice piece of work. And then this screen shows the process of me doing this piece of work. And this piece of work took really bloody long. Like I did a drawing, but I did stippling. So that's when you take like a pen, a fine liner, and you start dotting the page. And you see these like dark spots here? Those took like 4 days to do, because my work was like A0. So that's like, imagine 8 A4 papers pieced together, like that size. It was like as tall as I am. So yeah, I wanted this to be the first piece of work in my exhibition, because it like creates an impact and then personalizes my exhibition to my own life. So yeah, that's the process. And then this is the final work, and me evaluating on what successes I had in this work and what was challenging in this work. And you basically just want to tell the examiner like how you found doing the work. You don't really want to tell them what you did. You want to tell them how you feel what you did. Well, that's what our teacher always said. Okay, and then this is just the same thing for another piece of work. So first we have a critical investigation screen where I essentially copied this artist's work, except I did mine with pastel instead of oil painting and watercolor and acrylic or whatnot. And then I just kind of did my own research and then like linked back to my own theme of like childhood memories and stuff. And then I did a drawing with pastel that didn't really turn out well because I didn't draw it really big, and so the details on the face didn't really show properly. And then that's what I explained here. And then another thing to note is that pretty pages don't matter. Like, you don't have to make your PP screens look like art. What matters is the content on your screens. So yeah, I did media experiments. So I experimented with pastel as well as acrylic, and then I also did it in watercolor. But these were like really fast works, so I didn't really spend a lot of time on them. Basically, my process portfolio is just my works in my exhibition, and then 3 screens per work. So the first screen would be me communicating my ideas and how I came about to think of doing this piece of work. And then, so here you can see all the different composition ideas and the different like angles of the photograph. And then this is me like doing a drawing, experimental drawing of the embracing hands. So yeah, the first screen would always be my critical investigation and communicating my intentions and ideas. And then my second screen would either be media experiments or my process, and like taking pictures of each stage of my drawing. And then my third would be evaluating. So yeah, in this work I investigated chiaroscuro, like a lighting technique, which is where like the dark, almost black background contrasts with the light. And I honestly don't know why I did that. But yeah, just to gain some extra marks. So yeah, this screen, critical investigation, blah 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 blah. A lot of research, and you have to write it all in your own words because you have to put this through the plagiarism checking program. So yeah, I did critical investigation, then communicating my ideas and intentions, and lots of experimenting and different compositional ideas of how I would do the final artwork, and then experimenting with layering, and then like pointing out exactly what I liked and what I didn't like in these experiments, so that I could show that I experimented and then learned from my mistakes and then move on to the actual final artwork. And then this is the process screen. So at first I did a monoprint, and you can see the details in this smaller picture, and then I used chalk and pastel to do the colored circles like this, like the artist's connection one. So that's like where I took my inspiration from. And then I did a lino print with like these face outlines, and so you have to show the marker exactly how you came about to do, like how I traced the faces and where I got the faces from, and like that whole process. So you have to show like editing with iPad software to create line drawings. And then so yeah, you can see this is like my work, my final work, except I decided I wanted to do more and develop this piece because it didn't look really like a piece of work. It looked more like a background or like a print, and so there wasn't really any depth in the work, no foreground background kind of thing. And then this is my screens for my sculpture. I'm not gonna go through it. And yeah, that was my final piece of work, this sculpture. And then yeah, this is another piece of work, composition idea. Oh shit, I put 2 and 2. Oh well. Okay, yeah, so basically it's the same thing again. And then this just shows the process of me drawing my face. Or like drawing from the picture from my composition idea. And then this is the final work. And then you have to label it with exhibition artwork if it was your final piece of work. And then yeah, that's it. Bibliography. That seems really little. Okay. Yeah, I'll just put a few pictures of some of my final exhibition artworks. Actually, I have one behind me right now. I called this work... I forgot what I called it. But the idea behind it was like dreams, like the state of being in a dream. And this is a painting of my brother. To be honest, I don't really know how I got a 7 in art. It was really borderline as well, so I got a 6 in my comparative study. I got a 7 on my process portfolio and a 7 on my exhibition. And yeah, just remember, 1, don't say I did this, I did that in your explanation, and just show the examiner how you felt while trying out new materials, new media, and then just try and show like a range of media being experimented with. And like, but don't show too much, because they kind of want to see you grow in one particular medium. And so I did mainly drawings with pastel, with pencil, yeah. And then I had did one thing of printmaking and one sculpture. But mainly my thing was drawing, and I had that one painting. So they want to see you like grow in one of the medium and become essentially like a pro at it. And then my second piece of advice is, don't waste your time making your pages pretty. They don't really care how it looks. Well, don't make it look too ugly. Like, I would say mine doesn't look very artsy. But what matters is what is said in those explanations and research, and how your idea links together, and how coherent your body of work is. And then number 3, my advice would be to manage your time well, and not to spend the last week before everything's due for the exhibition cramming in extra pieces of work, because they're not going to look good if you rush them under time constraint. So yeah, hope this video helps, and see you whenever I next have a video to post.